Hello and welcome to the LRM podcast, sponsored by Adrian Flux Insurance. I'm Martin Dominy.
And I'm Steve Miller.
And you join us for an hour of chat about Land Rovers and everything to do with owning them. What's new then, Steve? What have you been up to this week?
Doing my back in. That's what I've been doing.
You haven't mentioned that your back's hurting at all. You've been quite quiet. Well, how did you do that then?
Well, simply looking at a garden implement and digging, basically.
I thought it might have been Land Rover-related injury.
Oh, do you know what I reckon actually caused it? It wasn't Land Rovers. I went paddleboarding.
Really? Oh, God, I would have paid to have seen that.
I would have paid to have not done it. But
well, I bet you would now because you've done yourself.
Yeah, well, have I? They always say whenever your back goes, it's what you've done 2 days before.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Oh. So it's never really at that, unless it goes there and then. It's normally because of something you've already done.
Oh, I didn't know.
Yeah.
I thought it was just, it happens and that's it. I didn't realise it was time related.
So no, probably falling in a lake about 7 or 8 times in the space of an hour from the giddy heights of a 6'3" man on a paddleboard.
Dignity and grace.
Oh yeah, proper belly flops and so that's what happened Saturday, and then I did a bit of gardening over the bank holiday weekend.
It's really finished it off, I'd have.
Yeah, so I haven't even looked at a Land Rover.
Steve, well, while you were gallivanting around the lakes of Bedfordshire, I was at Anglia Car Auction on Saturday.
Yeah, so we mentioned this, didn't we, in last week's podcast, that you were going.
I was very excited to go, and there was some somewhat surprising results, I think. I only went for the Saturday. It's a 2-day auction. They have so many lots now that they spread it across 2 days. And I went with a really good friend who was after, he wants an 88-inch series Land Rover, and there was a few.
Who wouldn't?
Well, exactly.
Yeah. Seeing some of those prices, pretty much everybody wants one.
I was. We had enough time to go and look around the potential candidates on the Saturday morning before bidding began, and he sort of picked out the one he liked the most, and then we had sort of like a second best, and looked around all the other quite nice stuff that was there. But yeah, the Land Rovers just seemed to. I find they either do really well or not so well at that auction, and unfortunately, the Saturday we went, they all made a lot of money.
They made what they were worth on the day, didn't they? Because it's worth what someone's prepared to pay, and that's the problem with an auction, isn't it?
Yeah.
Quite often you'll get someone will be outbid, and they get auction fever. We've mentioned that before. You've got to be really, really careful at auction.
Yeah.
Because if you go with, you want a car, you've gone. With money in hand, you've convinced yourself. Yeah.
What I always, because I quite often get emails from people saying, "Can you value my Land Rover?" And it's impossible to do it.
I get them all the time. We try and help.
Yeah,
but it's how long's a piece of string,
basically. But what I say to them is, go on eBay, type in the year of the Land Rover and the model, and then click on sold and completed listings, and that shows you what vehicles have actually sold for on eBay rather than what they're up for sale for, because there's often
a big difference. Yeah.
But the one he really had his eye on at this auction was a 1964 Series 2A. It was a soft top, ex-military, and it had parabolic springs, overdrive. The bodywork's fairly well worn. It wasn't like fully restored shiny paint or anything, but it had some nice bits. Had SU carb conversion as well, still 2.25 petrol.
Okay.
And I thought we'd probably get that for about £5.5 maybe, like £8,856. I couldn't believe it.
That's including the buyer's premium and costs, etc.
Yeah, fees.
Okay.
So we thought, all right, maybe, that was one of the first couple through on the day. We thought maybe
people are a bit eager.
Yeah, maybe it'll die down in a bit. It did not die down. So the next one he wanted to look at was a 59 Series 2, and it was not quite as nice as the first one. It didn't have the extras or anything like that. And I sort of said to him, it's maybe not quite what you want now, but you could make that really nice. And the fact that it's a Series 2 rather than a 2A probably makes it quite desirable. So we were sticking our thing in the air for that as well, and that made nearly £4,000.
So you had a bid on them, but you just were outbid.
Yeah, so we there was a local dealer there that I've known from years ago, and I thought he's going to have his eye on a few of these Land Rovers, and I was right, because he ended up buying that one and a Defender 110 that went through after that Series 2. So we were maybe outgunned. I think he probably had more cash in his pocket than we did, but it was still a great day and I really enjoyed it.
It's interesting, isn't it? So if you know a dealer's there,
Yeah,
you ought to be paying the next bid on from the dealer because the dealer's obviously going to
he's
make
got
money.
to make his money as well, hasn't he?
So
We sort of, it was like, it was... Really,
there's a price he would have walked away at, and if your bid was £100 more...
Yeah, but you can't...
I know, man maths doesn't really work.
So he's still on the hunt. If you've got a Series 2A ideally, or Series 3 88-inch that doesn't need tons of work and, has a reasonable chassis and bulkhead, drop me an email, editorial@lrm.co.uk, and I'll put you in touch.
Yeah.
So that was my Saturday.
Or they could just get more for it and go to the auction.
Yeah, maybe.
Well, but then that all depends on the day, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So that dealer, for example, may have bought all the stuff he needs for the time being and won't be back next month.
Maybe.
You just don't know.
We don't. But there was a couple of very, very nice... Well, there was one very, very nice Range Rover P38 as well. Unfortunately, an insurance write-off years ago, but white gold, 80-odd thousand miles. And
White gold, that's like champagne, isn't it?
Yeah, like...
Champagne colour.
Yeah, exactly. Champagne colour, but really, really immaculate interior. Oh, and I thought, I'll have a go on that. And that went for nearly 4,000 quid. So it shows that the enthusiasm for Range Rovers of that era is coming through now.
And do you know what something I've noticed, right, for everybody listening, is every time I look at Martin's computer screen, if he isn't reading the latest issue of the magazine, i.e. checking off the PDFs before we upload them to the printers, he's looking at P38. So I know, I get a feeling that...
I think one is on the horizon.
Yeah, you've spoken fondly about P38s far more than most other things.
The talking of, there was another quite surprising result at that auction. Holland and Holland went through. It done 185,000 miles, I think, and it was...
Which is strong mileage for isn't it, really?
Good to see one that's been used properly, but, a bit lack-appealy, a few bits of trim missing, a few dents here and there. By far from a mint example, it made £7,128.
That's really strong money. Yeah.
I was very surprised.
But again, someone's probably really happy with their purchase.
It's the fact that it's Holland and Holland makes that because, they were very limited.
Well, we've spoken about limited editions in the previous podcast, so someone might be able to check that out if they haven't listened to that already.
Make it a nice car again.
Yeah.
But, talking of Range Rovers, we had a listener email in. He goes, he starts by saying, I've just started listening to your podcast and I'm really enjoying it, fascinated by Land Rovers, but never actually owned one. Fair play. I live here in the state of Maine, in the States, and they're a rare commodity. I've been looking at LR3s and 4s, which is essentially Discovery 3 and 4. They call them LR3 and 4 in the States, because they seem to be the most available. But do the 3s have the same timing chain issues as the 4s? Now, he'll be referring to the petrol engines because that's the majority of what was sold in America. We generally, there's a few petrols about, but normally we have the TDV6, 2.7 and the 3 litre.
So he's talking about the 5 litre V8 naturally aspirated.
Yeah, so the 4.4 in the Disco 3 and then the 5 litre in the Disco 4.
Right, I get you. Yeah. And they have timing chain issues. I know the 5s have timing chain issues, don't they? Documented.
Yeah, I don't think we see it loads in the UK just because there's not that many of them about.
But they fitted that engine, I believe, in a Jaguar XK.
Yeah.
That's aspirated 5 litre, and they do have timing chain issues.
Right. Well, yes then.
Yeah.
He seems a little bit apprehensive about this, the Disco 3 and 4, because he says... I've thought about getting 4 and getting the chain fixed and the guides, but it looks like that's a $6,000 job. That's not inconsiderable, that's quite a lot of money, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. $6,000 is probably, £4,500 to £5,000?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've not looked up the conversion, but either way, if you...
That's a lot of money.
However many thousand, you don't want to then spend $6,000 on having the engine fixed. It seems a little bit counterintuitive.
Yeah, but I suppose, if you delve into any car model, doesn't matter what it is, they all have their inherent problems. So,
yeah,
you kind of just, you've got to...
Others.
Yeah.
Freelander 2 is just like the pinnacle of reliability. Oh, I shouldn't have said that, should I?
Oh, you've said it now.
Look what happened last time I said that.
Yeah, you did. 2 weeks later. Oh,
Never mind.
yeah. Well, we know what we know what your next problem's going to be anyway. And we joked about that earlier.
Leave my turbo out. Anyway, so he goes on to say which Range Rovers are more reliable. So Range Rover Classic, so the first generation, 1970 to 96.
Yeah.
P38, so 95 to 2002, or L322, so 2002 all the way through 2012.
Which one is more reliable?
He says just about all of the ones I see are gas, so petrol, and not diesel. So we can pretty much discount the diesel ones because there's not going to be that many for sale in his neck of the woods. Keep up the great work. Cheers. That's from Tim Finn in Maine.
So thank you for the question, Tim.
Yeah, cheers. It's great to hear from people all over the world, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
My advice would be, going to go out there. Maine is by the sea, right?
Okay.
For lobsters, isn't it, Maine?
I've not been.
I've not been either, but I know it's known for lobsters. But anyway, I would say P38, but make sure it's got a top hat and linered engine in it. So the engine's bulletproof.
Do you know, I wouldn't have said you were ever going to say that the most reliable Range Rover to have is a P38. Could you have said that 10 years ago?
No, probably not.
Hey.
But
they're in the middle of the road, aren't they, in terms of technology versus a classic Range Rover is quite a basic vehicle, isn't it?
Like, yeah, I mean, the later ones were a bit more tooled up, but they are becoming, I don't know, I wouldn't.
You see, you just keep wanting to talk about P38 all of a sudden. Do you honestly not think the most reliable would, in my opinion, be a classic Range Rover?
Most basic, yeah.
Yeah, so easy to fit.
Right, so...
But completely different beasts, aren't they, to an L322?
Yeah, they are. It really depends what age he's looking at, because...
And budget.
And budget, yeah. But if you look at the 80s, really early 90s Range Rovers, all right, okay, I'll change my mind. They are probably the most reliable.
So classic Range Rover.
But...
So I'm right, then.
As they got towards the end of their production... They shared loads of stuff with the P38, so they're no more reliable. A really late classic and P38 are kind of the same thing.
So, yeah.
All-out reliability, Range Rover Classic, top hat linered engine, so the liners won't slip. Although 3.5s don't really have that problem. All right, okay, let's narrow it down even further.
So this, Tim, for your benefit, is not an easy one to answer.
We're going around the houses a bit.
We are. Martin wants a P38, so basically he's going to say that's the most reliable.
To answer your question, I'm not going to be biased now. Range Rover Classic, 3.5 Rover V8, which I believe is a 218 cubic inch.
Yeah.
In American speak.
Quite small for...
It's a nice enough engine.
Yeah, we'll get down the road.
Coil springs.
Yeah.
Non-ABS. That's the most reliable Range Rover. Changed my mind.
Yeah, I've changed it for you because I've made you realise that P38 probably isn't.
Yeah, you're right. But you will have to look out for corrosion issues, as Maine is a coast.
And by the sea, yeah. Of course.
Well, all of it is by the sea, obviously, but,
No, but
find more rust there than you would inland.
We've seen vehicles in the UK that live by the sea tend to be more rusty than ones that do not.
Without a doubt.
Yes.
I bought a Freelander 1, the one I turbocharged. That was from Great Yarmouth Way, which is obviously a seaside town, and it was just brown and orange underneath.
Yeah, no.
But
buy on condition. Yeah. Get a friendly rapport with your local garage or somebody that knows what they're looking at, especially in Maine. Yeah. The 5 litre thing, we haven't really answered that question.
No, we haven't. But clearly they are known for it in the States because there's a high percentage of petrols over there. I would sooner invest money in a Range Rover, in an early Range Rover, which is probably going to be climbing in value, than a later one, which is probably still on the
downturn.
What's your answer anyway? If I've nailed my colours to the mast and said early Range Rover coil sprung
Well, that was my answer too, really, because that's why I said you were wrong at saying a P38. Yeah, kind of. It's one of those things you buy on condition. I would say that, if you were looking at the 5-litre V8 petrol D3 or LR3, LR4.
They would have had that engine in L322 out there as well, wouldn't they?
Possibly. Well, I don't know.
I'm not sure. Anyway,
we should know the answer to that, and we'll go our way and find out.
We're not too hot on the US market, I do apologise, but LR3, Disco 3 and 4, LR3 and 4, 4.4, 5-litre, timing chains and guides and things like that. Personally, if you were going to buy one of those cars, I'd just buy one with the receipts in the glove box that say it's already been done.
Or bid lower because of the likelihood. I don't know what percentage of cars have that issue.
No, it's the same with, in this country, the number of people you see with Disco 3 and 4 saying that their crankshaft has snapped or their oil pump's broken, or, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, of course.
We were actually looking, when we should have been working, we were on eBay earlier, weren't we, looking at Land Rovers, and the number of spares or repairs Discovery Sports with timing chain rattle from the Ingenium.
Yeah, you can almost tell by the price the car's at as to what the description's going to say. Scary, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
But you see, who in their right mind, is there a market for somebody to buy those cars, fix them and sell them?
Yeah, there probably is.
Because there are a lot of them.
I do worry that the reputation of those engines has gone so far that people will shy away from them.
Well, they are.
Or does your day-to-day consumer who just needs a 4x4 and wants a Land Rover not really bother looking into it and just buy one anyway?
Yeah, I think that's the case. So non-core Land Rover enthusiasts, of which many of those people are around who do buy Discovery Sports, don't go into it with their eyes wide open. We know about these problems, so we know what to look out for or avoid.
Yeah.
But the general consumer doesn't. They just buy it.
Yeah.
Sometimes the less you know, the better. Yeah. Because you don't form your judgment, do you?
Exactly.
You just look at the car and go, I like the colour, I like the price, I like the spec, I'm buying it. And then deal with the consequences later.
I bet loads of people own them and they drive them and they, use them every day, and then they sell them or get something else and they don't have timing chain issues.
And this is because our sort of sense of what's going on is slightly warped because of the...
Yeah, we're in the circle.
We're in the enthusiast sector where people are quite vocal about the issues. For everybody that talks about negative aspects to any of the particular models, there's loads of people that just go about their business on a day-to-day basis, don't care less.
Yeah. And actually, Greg King's recently changed his early Disco Sport for a 2020 with the 2-litre Ingenium. And he said that he looked back through the technical bulletins at Land Rover, and after a certain date, they revised the engine anyway. So it might not be such a prevalent problem on much later ones.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know. Again, we've gone off on a tangent, really.
Do you know what we talk about a lot on this podcast? Buying things. Because everyone's obsessed with buying Land Rovers.
Do you know what I really admire, though, is people who have a Land Rover and they say they buy it when they're like 16 or 17 and they keep it for like ever. I just think that's
I can never say that because
it's so easy to get caught up in the excitement of like, oh look, there's that, I want that, and you have that, and you're always chopping and changing,
looking for the next thing.
Yeah, there was that famous quote, isn't it, of what's your favourite car, and it's the next one. But
that famous quote I've never heard of.
Clearly looking in the right places. But whenever I see, get emails and things like that, and people say, I've had this for like 30 years, and you're like, wow.
I know, it's quite nice, but again, that doesn't say much about the car. It's about the personality of the person who owns it. Yeah, would you imagine owning the same thing for 30 years?
It's something I kind of aspire to do. It's something I'd like.
Well, you need to make a start at your age.
Well, yeah.
And my age. If I kept the same car from now onwards, I'd be like in my mid-70s.
Yeah. I don't know. I'd like to own something properly long term. I think once the Series 3 is reshassied, I'll hold on to that.
Yeah, you heard it here first.
Yeah.
There'll be a P38.
I've been known to say that, like my last Discovery one. I was like, this is the best vehicle ever. I'm never selling it. And then
I've said that so many times. This is a keeper. This one. Next thing, oh, look at that. Grass is always greener. And then next thing, oh, I sold that one.
But actually, yeah, it rarely is green.
I think buying Land Rovers, keeping them for a bit, wasting all your money on them, selling them at a loss, and buying another one is what keeps us ticking over.
I think so, yeah. It keeps things fresh and exciting, doesn't it?
Yeah. You could be wasting all your money on the golf course or doing some other pointless thing.
I mean, if you're into golf, you're into golf. Personally, they say it's the best way to spoil a good walk, don't they, golf?
I bet loads of people listening to this go, oh, I'll go to golf.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I think fair play.
You should take out golf and turn up in your P38.
Oh.
Yeah, old school.
It'd be like, successful 1990s photocopier salesman. Turn up at the golf club.
But you file the facts.
Yeah. Yeah. God, they got me thinking now. There's probably an Instagram account in that, isn't there?
Definitely.
There's definitely an Instagram account in that.
There you go.
90s things.
You're just looking for an excuse to buy a P38.
Kind of, yeah. I do fancy one.
So anyway, if anyone's got one for sale and they want to stitch Martin up, email editorial@lrm.co.uk and make sure it's really, really ropey, and I will laugh at his purchase.
That's great. Fantastic stuff. Right. Oh, actually, going back to that auction quickly, I said there was that red V8 lightweight in it.
Yeah, and I said it won't make that money.
It didn't.
I know.
The moral of the story isn't that. What I'm actually getting to was the fact that I put a picture of that lightweight on my Instagram story, Land Rover Martin, if you're interested. And music.
That's harsh. I haven't had enough coffee today.
Alistair Cusick messaged me almost instantly, actually, while I was at the auction, and he said, that's a V8. I shot that in 2002. It was the cover car for Land Rover Enthusiast. So
I remember it, yeah. Yes.
That's another one that's probably been owned by someone for like ages and ages and ages, and now they're changing it, and maybe they're getting out of Land Rovers or getting into something else.
It's a shame it didn't sell.
But yeah.
But the trouble is, quite often you'll see that people's expectations are sometimes not aligned with the market reality. Yeah. So they'll put something through the auction and it will reach a price, maybe below the reserve, and then they don't come to an agreement. But the second time through the auction, it actually achieves less, but they're more inclined. So the urgency to sell something has increased. So the overall sales figure they sell it for is less. So the best time to sell it, well, the optimum time is probably the first time round at auction. It loses its momentum. Very rarely would something go for more the second time round.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's a dodgy. Everyone's got different ways of selling Land Rovers as well. eBay, you've got in-person auctions, if you like Anglia and Silverstone and all the others. There's a lot of different ways of going about it.
You see, if I was to sell at auction now, and I had, let's say, a practical Land Rover that wasn't worth huge sums of money, I would definitely look at Anglia car auctions. Much more mainstream. But if I had something like Uber Premium, then I would probably look to the Iconic auctions or something like that at the NEC that we looked round back in March, wasn't it? That kind of sale.
That was a lovely one because there was so much. There was like freshly rebuilt Defenders sat next to all of those project Range Rover Classics. There was such a nice variation.
There was something for everybody's pocket, wasn't there?
Definitely,
which is what we quite liked.
That actually reminds me. I was thinking earlier this week. Have you noticed? Oh God, I'm going to sound really out of touch and really old now. But have you noticed there's like breakfast meats are a thing now, aren't they? People love meat.
Yeah.
Land Rover breakfast meats.
Well, any car meats, car and bike, it seems to be quite commonplace now, yeah.
But off the back of our sort of chat we did about trialling before, there's so many ways you can be into Land Rovers nowadays, isn't there? You haven't got to be like welly boots. getting stuck on a Sunday, have you? You can,
No, show and shiny type stuff. Like,
yeah.
so I quite like what they do at the breakfast meets. Oh,
Are you talking about?
the breakfast London. You know, the London Run Club go to it then.
Yeah.
Am I getting?
You've got Land Rovers of London.
No, not that one. Well, that's
Rover Social.
Rover. Yeah, sorry. Do you know? My mind went blank there. Rover Social.
Yeah.
They do Sunday best.
Yes, they do. Yeah, the Royal Oak, isn't it, Midhurst?
Yeah, really, really nice. We'll have to get down there.
I have been meaning to go for one for so long. I know Land Rover Life editor Neil's been to one.
Yeah,
enjoyed it. I think he took a Series 2A down there. But yeah, this is what I mean.
But that kind of like hang out with a coffee.
Just chat about Land Rovers, look at other people's vehicles, and it's just like, yeah, there's more ways than ever to get into it. If you've got a Land Rover and you're not really sure,
Or even if you haven't, go down and meet people, get real life examples of what to look for if you don't know, and possibly someone might give you a passenger ride in something that you're thinking about buying.
Definitely, and if you haven't got a Land Rover yet, you'll probably want one after you've been to any sort of Land Rover related meet-up, because people are just so nice, aren't they, in Land Rover circles. Pub meets as well, join a club or whatever, you get like lovely pub meets, and like we say, we've been to Grief and Gathering, good number of Land Rovers there.
I went to a show on Sunday.
Oh yeah,
in Stamford. So Stamford is just off the A1 in Lincolnshire. Beautiful town, really cracking place. It's almost like a town from the Cotswolds.
Do you know
Stamford?
How to tell if someone's from Stamford?
No,
don't worry, they'll tell you.
Do you know what?
Some people make it their entire personality from that town. I don't get it personally, but
it's a lovely place.
Yeah, but imagine like people are obsessed with it. It's a lovely place, but come on, man, there's more to life than where you live.
Well, yeah, but I like it.
Yeah.
Anyway, right? So Stamford on the Meadows every year they have a classic car show. I think it's organised by the Round Table. So it's like, you give a donation on the way in. So it's like ticketed events.
Right.
Really, really an eclectic mix of cars. There's a couple of Range Rovers there, but not your normal classic Range Rovers. We'll put a picture of it up on our social.
Oh, is this the one you were showing me?
Yeah, it was like a metallic orange, 1970, 71, early three-door, or two-door Range Rover. Don't know what engine it had, but it certainly did long throw gear stick from an LT95 gearbox. It looked like it got a different gearbox.
Oh, yes.
Gear stick in there.
Yes, because from the picture it looked like it had a Discovery 1 centre console.
Yes, but they'd done like a sport bucket-seated interior.
Mm.
And so I was looking at it, or through the window, and I've taken a picture, which we will post onto our Facebook social channels. And a chap stood next to me, and he said, "Oh, yeah, that's should have such and such a gear stick, da da da." And I just sort of made out that I didn't know anything about it. And, oh yeah, oh right, yeah. I said, "Is it yours?" He goes, "God no."
Oh wow.
Yeah, like I went. He said, and basically he was like, "That's been ruined."
Really?
In his mind, he's got the wrong, metallic modern paint. Yeah. Resto mod, you'd call it.
Okay.
But you know what? It was somebody's pride and joy. And it was a really, really well turned out car. Not my cup of tea.
Yeah.
But, they'd retrimmed the original early steering wheel in leather, yellow and black.
Right. I mean, it sounds a bit Marmite.
Yeah, definitely a Marmite car.
But, like you say, they're still out there. They're still driving it. They're still using it.
And at a show. And there was there was like a fire tender one. There was Series 3. There was a really nice 101, and the chap was got all his signs up showing its work that he's done. He was talking to people about it.
Oh, cool.
There's just a nice eclectic mix of stuff. Just lovely, just to walk around Stamford, if anyone...
No, don't get me wrong, I've got nothing against Stamford. I think it is a lovely place, and I can see why people are proud to be from there, but...
Because they must be loaded, because house prices in Stamford...
They don't know.
It's 8 miles away from here, right? And you can pretty much double the house prices of Bourne to live in Stamford. So Bourne is where we are based now.
where we're recording this very podcast.
Yeah. So yeah, Stamford would be pretty much double your property price, and it's not even in the smallest counties. So it's still in Lincolnshire, not Rutland. Rutland being the smallest county, and it's even more expensive to live there.
Wow.
There you go.
I'm learning geography.
This is your property podcast in association with Land Rover Monthly.
Yeah, great. From what was I going to say? Yeah, sorry. So just to like go to the very extreme, we were talking about Land Rover meetups and things like that.
Yeah.
And how they're changing. Have you seen Land Rover Classic have taken a load of Royal Land Rovers to Pebble Beach Concourse in America?
No.
Really?
Where have I been?
Where have you been? So basically to celebrate Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II,
Yeah.
obviously no longer with us, they have taken a fine selection of Royal or Land Rovers of the Royal Connection.
So I should have borrowed mine.
Yeah, because it was at Balmoral once.
No, it was their estate vehicle for 4 years. First 4 years of its life. She may have sat in it.
Maybe, yeah, she might have done. Anyway, they've taken Series 1 Defender, an L322 and some lovely other vehicles with Royal State Review vehicles, so like with the platform in the back that they
Yes. Yeah.
do parades and things with. That I've seen them at British Motor Museum, coincidentally.
Yes, I've seen them at one of Land Rover's events before.
Fun fact about the Range Rover, the old Range Rover Royal Review, it has a separate speedometer on the dashboard, which is, I can't remember what it measures from and to, but it's basically for low speed driving, so you can maintain a steady speed when you're in the parade.
I see. So it's a bit more sort of like focused on say 10 or 15 miles an hour rather than...
Yeah, because we all know what it's like driving an old Land Rover when you're trying to drive slowly and the speedo needle was like bouncing between 0 and like 20 miles an hour. You couldn't do that in a parade.
No, so it's a more accurate sort of...
Yes.
Scale down.
Precise.
Yes. Oh, good.
So if you ever see the vehicle in person, you won't at the moment because it's over in America. When it's back, keep an eye out for that. It's a little bit nugget of information there.
Riveting.
But could sound a bit more exciting, Steve. Look at for the record, I'm showing Steve photos of these Land Rovers over in at Pebble Beach Concourse.
No, very nice. Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, of course.
Lovely things. So yeah, it's a bit of a nice trip, I would imagine, driving a load of classic Land Rovers around in America.
Yeah.
Parking up by the sea.
Better weather there than we have here.
At the moment, yeah. It's great at the moment. I was, talking of the weather, I was putting some more coats of 30-year-old paint on my Series 3's new tub on Sunday. And the wind was just coming up my garden and hitting the house and just blowing leaves and bits of grass and dirt and dust.
Quality paint finish then.
Well, I got really stressed out by it for quite a while, and then I thought to myself...
You're getting stressed? No, I never heard of it.
Working with you, Steve, that's what that is. I thought to myself, I'm not even going to worry about this. Yes, the paint's not going to be perfect.
What? It's 30 years out of date paint, right. And you're worried about it being perfect?
The paint itself, to give a bit of backstory, again, Land Rover Life editor Neil Watson messaged me and said, I've got this paint. I know you're going to do this new tub for your Series 3 when we rebuild it, which is coming up very quickly, and I'm getting a bit nervous. Anyway, he said, you're more than welcome to try it. I'm probably going to throw it away otherwise. It's genuine military.
Genuinely old.
It is genuinely old. It's a 1993 vintage, and it has a shelf life of 18 months. So, yeah, it should have...
So I wonder what happens after 18 months.
I'll tell you. What happens after 30 years is the I don't know what it is. Hardener, maybe? Sits on top of the pigment, and the pigment is set at the bottom.
Oh, okay. So it's like the oils and things in the paint have come to the top.
Totally separated, and I thought this is going to be unusable. But then I got a piece of wooden batten out of the garage, and I was like digging it into the actual pigment paint at the bottom of the tin, and it started coming away. And I spent 2 hours digging the pigment off the bottom of the tin and stirring it.
Yeah.
Until it became paint again. And you know what? It goes on beautifully now. And it's hard, it's set, it's a reasonable finish apart from all the debris.
Apart from the sand and dust.
It's military authentic, it's like squatty.
Do you know what? It's probably better paint than the modern equivalent. It's probably got some like awful chemical in it.
Oh,
kind of.
probably, yeah, grow an extra head or something like that. But I was just amazed at how well after. Yeah, I stood there like an idiot, stirring it for 2 hours and getting different bits.
Should have got an attachment on the drill. You know, the little stirrers.
I cannot tell you how solid the pigment was at the bottom of the can.
Oh,
I
okay.
wouldn't have touched it.
Okay, so you needed a drill bit or something.
Yeah, I mean, like I say, I put videos on my socials. It was you could push a stick. You had to push a stick with all your might into the pigment, and it would stand up.
That's determination that you were going to get that paint.
I was determined not to spend any money, and I've achieved it. So the only downside is I've done the tub. It looks fantastic, though I do say so myself, despite the questionable paint finish.
Is it a 50-yarder?
Yes,
up.
yeah.
Right, okay. Is that saying a 50-yarder?
Good looking from afar, but far from good looking, essentially.
Yeah.
But now, because the rest of the Land Rover from like the cab forward is a different shade of, not only is it a different shade of green, I think it's been done in bronze green in the past, but the paint on the tub looks so fresh, I'm going to have to paint the rest of it.
Have you got enough out-of-date paint to do that?
Yeah, I've got loads. Yeah.
Okay.
I've probably used a quarter of the tin.
Hand painting does go a long way, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah.
I'm really happy with it. So I'm hoping that will come together nicely, and you know, we're gonna crack on and get that chassis done, and it'll be like, well, it will be sort of like a new vehicle, I suppose. Apart from the mechanical bits.
Yeah, a new old vehicle.
I'm excited.
Oh yeah, because we get cracking with it next Monday and Tuesday, don't we?
Yeah.
So that's going to be an interesting couple of days.
How quickly can you strip a Land Rover down and put it back together on a new chassis?
Well, I'm ahead of, so I'm going to film it.
Yeah, you'll
some of it.
And Steve and Chef Steve, aren't you?
Yeah, so I'll be catering manager.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So you're going to bring your barbecue along, aren't you?
Yeah. Do you know what? Gas barbecue is the way forward.
There's certain people that would lynch you for saying.
I know, and I was one of them, right? So I was absolutely, because I don't think that cooking on the barbecue that's gas is the same. But I was so fed up with burning things or not being able to control the heat by burning charcoal. I have converted to the nomadic barbecue.
It is.
It's handy, really handy. Yeah. It's neat. Once it's cooled down, which takes minutes, you pack it away again. You haven't got to put it out. Yeah, I'm a convert.
Well, there we go. I mean, I do agree with you. Having used it, it is a good bit of kit, but you can't beat the taste of charcoal, can you?
Yeah, I still have both barbecues, but yeah. Well, bring the gas one.
Well, we've lit the touch paper now, and we can walk away from that before people email it, argue for one or the other. But now, a word from our sponsors.
We're proud to partner with Adrian Flux, an insurance broker that specialises in covering all types of Land Rovers, including classic, ex-military, modified and Q-plated models. Adrian Flux offers a range of optional extras to make the policy your own and can provide cover for off-roading, green laning, agreed value and build-up cover. Plus, they even offer a discount of up to 15% for Owners Club members. Simply search Adrian Flux Land Rover Insurance for more information or call them directly on 0344 728 0417 for a quote.
Anyway, so thank you to our sponsors, Adrian Flux, as you've just heard. And I think it's time for Product of the Week.
Yes, indeed. Product of the Week. And you'll be pleased to hear I'm slightly more prepared for this one. Yes, he says,
flicking through the latest copy of Land Rover Monthly.
Right, so if you've got a series Land Rover and you want to fit a winch to it, as I've done, you will understand that it's not all that straightforward.
I shouldn't imagine it is, actually.
I can't quite believe that it's been a problem for this long, because you'd think that people would fit winches to them quite regularly. But there's not that many aftermarket options out there. You can get like a universal winch plate off the internet, which is designed to fit, like trailers and things like that.
Okay, yeah.
It's not very neat. However, there is now a solution.
Thank goodness for that. That's what I'm saying.
Well, I'm glad, Steve. Yeah. Mayer, the same people who have built my beautiful new chassis for the Series 3, are now offering Series winch bumpers with built-in winch mounts. Made out of 6mm steel.
Strong.
You're not going to bend one of them.
No, you will not.
And they fit most low-line winches with standard winch footprint, bolts to the top of the front bumper, and as well as the top and the front of your existing bumper, with holes for lifting and towing sort of shackles, so you can do like a snatch block pull off them and things like that.
Okay.
Obviously, you need to make sure the front of your chassis is in good condition, otherwise you're just going to...
What you're saying is it rotten, go to Mayo and buy your chassis and...
Yeah, you can order both at once.
Yeah, there you go.
Bargain, the convenience. Yeah, £199.
So I think that's a really good price for that.
It's pretty reasonable.
Yeah, already.
What you'd spend trying to do it yourself and doing a worse job.
Sheet steel. So I bought some 5mm steel to make some brackets for when I was in my camper trailer.
Yeah.
It's not cheap.
No, I know. Everything's gone crazy, hasn't it?
Yeah, and then you've got to mess around welding it and making it, or you just get your life back and buy that for £199.
And it's galvanised as well, as with everything Mayo does. So it's going to last. I like it. I might get one, actually, because I've currently got...
It'll neaten yours up, won't it?
Well, I've got... See, this is my quandary. I actually listed my winch on eBay last week and then I took it down again.
Why did you do that?
Right, so I've got a worn 8274, which is a...
That winch defines that car.
I know. The trouble with it is, because I've got V8 and it runs a standard series radiator, it's like on the cusp of... It's like on the limit of its cooling capacity. Put a big winch in front of the rad, and at like motorway speeds, she does get a bit warm.
Do you have electric fans?
Yeah.
Okay.
But they should only kick in really when you're stationary.
Of course, yeah.
Because this winch does block a lot of airflow, so I'm thinking maybe I should get like a low line winch instead. But then I thought, actually, even if I don't really want to sell the winch, so even if I don't have it on the Land Rover, I'd still like to keep it. But anyway, I might go low line winch on the front, so I might get one of these plates and fit it with a lower sort of profile winch, so I can still get plenty of air through.
For all that winching that you do.
Yeah.
To do.
Yeah, you're right, actually. I don't use it enough. But
it looks cool. And that's all that matters.
And it's still nice to have it. It's still handy to have it.
Yeah, no. Okay. I've never owned a winch.
Have it? You call yourself a Land Rover?
I don't.
You've never owned a winch?
No, because I green lane responsibly and never get started.
Oh, okay. I mean, I wouldn't use my winch for green laning, but I do see where you're coming from. You shouldn't need to have one for green laning.
No. I really have never really needed a winch for my own purposes.
Yeah, fair enough.
Same, really. Just kind of wanted one.
I'm trying to think what winch would look best on your 90.
Yeah, you're probably going to say a worn 80.
Yeah, a lovely worn M8274.
Yeah.
I'm going to cushion you up.
Yeah, just like I'm going to stitch you up with, well, some of our listeners will stitch you up with a P38 anytime soon.
Moving on, feature of the week. This week's feature of the week is in the tech section of the current issue of Land Rover Monthly.
I really like this feature, by the way.
Oh, I wonder why that could be.
Yeah.
Because your Land Rover features in it.
Yes, it does.
This is a feature we've done sort of in collaboration with Dinatrol. You have probably heard of Dinatrol if you own a Land Rover, because they make some fine rustproofing products, don't they, Steve?
They certainly do.
And for this feature, we shipped Steve's 90 off to...
Southwest Rustproofing.
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
For them to basically go over your chassis is in good condition. But... It
was, but it still only had the factory paint, and because it had never been looked after, it was surface rusty.
Yeah.
And either I could just carry on in my merry way and it would rot, or preventative maintenance is better than cure.
Yes, I agree. So these guys are, experts in this stuff. Dinatrol do all sorts of potions and bits and pieces that you can use at home. You haven't got to ship your Land Rover off to an agent to have it done. You can actually use their products. We put a little profile on each one that was used on your Land Rover in the feature, and a sort of step-by-step guide on how to do it. So, yeah, if your Land Rover is looking a little bit crispy underneath, get yourself a copy of Land Rover Monthly to learn how to rust-proof it properly, and also get yourself a discount on Dinatrol products. Hey, Steve?
Yes, so there is a discount code in our magazine.
Yes, indeed. But you'll have to buy the magazine to get it. Sorry.
Yeah, yeah. Actually, right. That's the whole reason to go and get it. And actually, that will show you what you need to do it at home. If it's a job that you don't want to do at home, Dinitrol do have a number of treatment centres around the UK.
Yeah.
That you can book it in, and
Steve did basically.
Yeah, because I didn't want Dinitrol in my hair.
Your hair could do with a bit more black in it. It does look quite
yeah. That's working with you, Martin. Yeah.
Just for men, for people with Land Rovers.
Yeah, Dinitrol. Can have white waterproof hair. Yeah. Obviously, if you were reading Land Rover Monthly correctly, you'd follow the correct PPE guidelines, and you would cover yourself.
Yeah, you don't want to get this. This stuff's brilliant for rustproofing your Land Rover, but don't get it in your eyes, ears, mouth, or any other orifices, because you'll probably regret doing so.
The Dinitrol treatment on my Land Rover, right? So underneath, it looks like better than the day it left the factory. It looks like brand new.
The number of people who've said to you,
it's instantly.
And amazingly, you wouldn't think that actually the underside of a Land Rover would make such a difference to how it looks overall, but it really does, doesn't it?
It does. All the actual casings are done. Everything really, pretty much. It looks. It's just nicer to drive down the road. It actually feels quieter. I suppose you get less vibration. And...
Well, some of the product they use, like their stone chip underbody.
Of course, yeah.
Does have noise dampening properties, so that might work.
Well, there you go. I should have read the features, shouldn't I?
You should have done, yeah.
Yeah.
But the Dronex bodywork protection, Steve. That's what will be quietening that down.
Well, there you go then.
Provides sound deadening and an anti-drone effect. You could do with spraying some of that on you.
Right. Yeah. I do drone all of it. Yeah, my back really does it, actually.
Works well for interior spaces inside boot lids, bonnets, where bitumen-based products cannot be used. So there you go.
The other good thing is, because obviously chassis, they rust from the inside out.
Yes.
That's had all the cavity wax put inside as well.
Treated, isn't it?
Yeah, no. It's going to last for many years to come.
Layered up. You've got the stone chip and then Dinitrol, the rust prevention stuff over the top, and like you say,
neutralise all the rust, and then they build it up with the black.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
there's more to rust proofing than meets the eye.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. It's a big job.
Yeah, aren't you glad you didn't do it?
Definitely. Look at my hands, nice and clean.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah. What's anything else you've done? Anything else to your mind? It's been quite a reliable, dependable transport, hasn't it?
Well, why are we saying that? Because now you just perfect.
Well, I stitched myself up earlier by saying the Freelander 2 is the most reliable thing. Land
Rover. No, it's good. Do you know what? For the first time, I haven't got any jobs lined up for it. Don't need to do anything to it. Oh, okay. Which is
that's a lie.
Oh, go on.
You've got anti-roll bars to fit.
Who has got anti-roll bars to fit?
You have.
We have. I had a cameraman for the job.
Rover, isn't it? It's in your garage.
Actually, there is a good point. I have actually got in stock anti-roll bars. So yeah. So there you go. Another job for my Land Rover. That will transform it though.
It will help, yeah, definitely. Yours is a weird one because although you've got fresh springs and dampers on it, and the roof tent is now on your trailer.
Yeah, so there's very limited weight in it.
So it hasn't got tons of weight on the roof.
No.
It's still a little bit rolly, isn't it?
It is. But because it's not a county, it's a hard top, they never fitted them from the factory with anti-roll bars.
No, quite.
But it kind of, definitely needs some.
I think for what you use it for, anti-roll bars will really help it.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, we'll have fun fitting them, won't we?
Yeah, you will. Yeah. That'll be in the magazine. On the YouTube channel.
Oh, we're going to do that, aren't we?
Yeah, you are,
yeah. I can't do everything.
What?
Yeah, I can't record and... Yeah. I'll get the barbecue out.
Great.
Yeah.
What have I got to do? I've got loads.
Well, you've got a bloody rebuild to do next Monday or Tuesday.
Yeah. It's going to be a 2-day rebuild.
You're going to put time-lapse?
I'm nervous about this, I'll be honest with you. I've had one of those.
The problem is preempting the stuff that you may need. Yeah. And so you have to actually rebuild or take the vehicle to bits in your head, thinking, do I need new nuts and bolts for that? Will I need to get the angle grinder out to cut that off?
I've been through the parts manual.
Yeah.
I've been going, right, I've got those. That should be okay. That's been off before. I know what has got copper slip on it, what hasn't. But you're going to forget something. Yeah.
And when you're up against it, because we're doing it fairly swiftly, aren't we?
It's going to be a full-on couple of days.
Yeah.
Not only are we rebuilding a Land Rover, we're also photographing it and making video.
for those who obviously aren't in this industry, when you're photographing for the technical pages particularly, sometimes you just you're trying to get on with the job in hand and concentrate, but then you're having to stop, aren't you, and pose for, you are posing for photos.
Yeah.
And it makes any job twice as long.
Yeah.
Pretty much, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Because you're thinking about what our readers of the magazine will want to know, not you just cracking on.
Exactly. Something we pride ourselves on, actually, in the tech section of LRM is clarity and the quality of the photographs.
A lot of work goes into that.
And you can't, it's not like, it does hold things up a bit. So obviously we're being quite ambitious with the amount of work we're going to get done anyway.
You see, I notice there's a we in this now. So I mentioned anti-roll bars, and it was just like, yeah, you will. And now it's a we. All of a sudden,
You'll see it hands dirty, aren't you?
Well, am I not?
No.
Oh, you don't want the hand then? Good, fair enough.
You're going to have no. It'll be good.
Do you have any chairs in your workshop?
I do have, yeah. I've got some chairs.
Good. Yeah. So I'll bring a camping chair.
If you're still moaning about your back, you'll be sitting on one of them all day, won't you?
Yeah. What's wrong with that?
You're more than welcome to lend a hand, Steve.
Yeah.
If you so desire. And in return, I'll help you fit your anti-roll bars.
Yeah, sounds like a fair trade.
Yeah.
Deal.
Right. Okay, we'll do that then. Excellent. Well, you'll see it and you'll read about it and you'll hear about it. So, we'll keep bringing you excellent Land Rover content as much as we can.
Right. I think that pretty much sums this week's podcast up.
Yeah, I reckon so. Massive thank you to Adrian Flux Insurance for sponsoring this week's podcast. If you've got any, if you've got a Land Rover or Land Rovers that need insuring, be sure to check them out.
Good stuff. Right. Bye for now.
See you later.